Om Ajnanatimmirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swaha Padantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunadanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Shri Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamahami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Shri Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. One chakal. Hare Krishna Prabhujis and Matajis. Thank you for joining.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji,
Hare
Dana
Krishna
Pranam.
Prabhuji, Dana Pranam.
Pranam. So, Trishi Sharan Prabhuji, thanks for joining, and Shamala Gopi Mataji, thank you for joining too. So, this might be a repeat for you, Tulsi Sharan Prabhuji, because this is same as what we have done in our Bhaktariksha a couple of weeks back about Grihasthas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it will be, you're more than welcome to stay, but just saying that this probably would be very similar. Yeah.
Oh, okay, Prabhuji. Sure.
Just to give you a heads up. So thank you all for joining. And today the topic is about Grihasthas, Ashram, right? So among all the among all the exalted devotees, right? Mahajans. Majority of the Mahajans are Grihasthas. Majority of the sadhakas in our ISKCON community, we are all Grihasthas, right? Majority. Also, purely from the support system standpoint, especially from the economic support for the rest of the ashramas, a brahmachari is in a student, is basically a brahmachari is a brahmachari, is a student, and they require economic support. Grihasthas, as parents, we support them, or in good old days, Grihasthas used to support even outsider brahmacharis by inviting them for prasadam, on a weekly basis like that. I've seen this practice at least when I was in my childhood in my village and town. So Grihasthas, we support brahmacharis because brahmacharis don't earn. Vanaprasthas, who are almost in the retirement life and who are exclusively focusing on spiritual advancement on their journey in Krishna consciousness, they are being supported by the same Grihasthas. And of course, sannyasis, Grihasthas, we serve. In fact, it's a very, very important aspect for Grihasthas to be able to respect, serve, and invite sadhus and sannyasis to one's home and serve them. So Grihasthas is a very, very important leg in the phase of our of our evolution itself, right? Now the same Grihastha ashram, according to Shri Prahlad Maharaj in 7th canto, 5th 7.5.5, right? Tat sadhu manye suravarya dehinam sada samudvigna dhiyam asad grihat hitvatma papam griham andhakupam vanam gato yad harimashrayeta. So he's saying this griham, this setup of Grihastha ashram, especially, that is andhakupam. Andhakupam means it's a darkest, well, deep well. If somebody falls in that, which is nothing but a blind well, there is no water, but one nonetheless searches for water. You're always continuously seeking for something that is not there in this. So Prahlad Maharaj is saying, Grihastha ashram is a griham andhakupam. Now, knowingly or unknowingly, majority of us somehow or the other made a choice to become Grihasthas, right? Now, one of the key aspects of Grihastha ashram, right, as Prahlad Maharaj is saying, it is actually going to frustrate us with our endeavors in our pursuance of material happiness. In fact, not only Grihastha ashram, in fact, the world itself, this material world itself, is designed to frustrate us. Even the material world itself is like a griham andhakupa. It's no water. There's no water, but when you fall into it, you're still somehow seeking for that water. So it is for this reason, if you look at the ashramas itself, the word Grihastha ashram. Ashram is a key word there. What do you mean by ashram? Ashram, what is ashram? Anybody?
Shelter.
Shelter, very nice, Prabhuji. Yeah. Any other ideas of your understanding of what ashram means?
Like say similar, like a place to reside where we can live.
Yeah. Yes, Mataji, a place to reside. But more importantly, ashram also is a place where one gets trained. Okay, brahmacharya ashram, grihastha ashram, vanaprastha ashram. All these, especially these three, are places of training. You get trained. Trained in what? Trained in how to execute ourselves and conduct ourselves in that, so that we actually make spiritual advancement in our life. So yes, it is Griham Andhakupam, but yet it is also the facility to be able to serve the Lord. So the same Bhagavad Gita, right? So let me, if you go back here, and in Bhagavad Gita, 18th chapter, it is said, Yagnadana tapah karma natyajyam karyameva tat yagno dana tapaschaiva pavanani manishina. Anybody would like to read the translation here, please?
I can read, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mata.
Acts of sacrifice, charity, and penance are not to be given up. They must be performed. Indeed, sacrifice, charity, and penance purify even the great soul.
Thank you, Mataji. Acts of sacrifice, charity, and penance are not to be given up. They must be performed. Indeed, sacrifice, charity, and penance purify even the great souls. Okay. Now, in this purport, without taking too much of your time, what I would like to focus is the marriage ceremony is considered one of the sacrifices. It is called Vivaha Yajna. Okay. Now, Srila Prabhupada is asking us in the purport, should a sannyasi who is in the renounced order of life, who has given up his family relationships, encourage the marriage ceremony or not? Okay, I'll hide it. Here is a question. If there is a sannyasi is there, should he encourage somebody to go perform Vivaha Yajna? Can he encourage people to get married, a sannyasi? How many of you say yes and how many of you say no?
Yes,
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji. They can encourage.
They can encourage, okay.
It is based on the qualities of the disciple, like what kind of inclinations he has.
It is based on the qualities of the disciple. Correct, Prabhuji. Wonderful. Mataji, you have any say on that?
Yes, Prabhuji, same thing, I would say.
Okay. So in our Bhakti Vriksha, when we asked, some people said, no, sannyasi's job is not to encourage people in Grihastha Ashram because it's Griham Andhakupam. And, they should focus. It's none of their business to do that. They should, encourage everybody to become more and more Krishna conscious as fast as possible. That was also another opinion that came. So let's see what Srila Prabhupada is saying here. Should a sannyasi encourage? The answer is the Lord says here that any sacrifice which is meant for human welfare should never be given up. Vivaha Yajna, the marriage ceremony, is meant to regulate the human mind so that it may become peaceful for spiritual advancement. See this? It's a beautiful statement. This Vivaha Yajna, each one of us actually take this because we want to regulate the human mind so that we may become peaceful for spiritual advancement. For most men, this Vivaha Yajna should be encouraged even by persons in the renounced order of life. It should be. Sannyasi should never associate with women, but that does not mean that one who is in the lower stages of life, a young man, should not accept a wife in the marriage ceremony. Right? So I think as Sureshwara Govind Prabhu was saying, depending upon our propensities, if a sannyasi sees that somebody has the inclinations for dharma, artha, kama, moksha, right? Especially some material pursuance and inclinations for enjoyment, it is better to have and get them encouraged into Grihastha Ashram life, because at least A, they'll be able to regulate their propensities. B, it is ashram at the end of the day, they get trained also. C, I went blank. I don't know. I wanted to say something, but I missed it. So it's okay. So all prescribed sacrifices are meant for achieving supreme law. Therefore, in the lower stages, they should not be given up. Similarly, charity is for the purification of the heart. Charity is for the purification of the heart. Okay, that is different. Charity is different. Right? So anyway, so Srila Prabhupada is also encouraging Vivaha Yajna, Grihastha Ashram, for those who have these inclinations for material pursuance, regulation, but at least because it gives some regulated, the point C that I wanted to talk about was responsibility. Only with, Vivaha Yajna, the Grihastha Ashram, actually comes with a responsibility too. Otherwise, you will have these so-called bachelors who are scouting for the comforts of the opposite sex and clueless, and then create unnecessary disturbance in the social order, right? So we don't want that to happen. So rather, we want people to take responsibility. So that is the thing, according to our Vedic principles, right? Man, especially men, are encouraged to live very peacefully, have a very wonderful family life, right? Take responsibility of the whole household, eatables, money, clothing, all these things, right? In fact, we actually take the vows. Marriage ceremony is very sacred and can be used as a great vehicle in becoming advanced in Krishna consciousness. In fact, we take these vows. I'll not get into the vows right now, but what I'm saying is the sum and summary of all those, taking those vows, that as a wife and husband, we will nourish each other with the basic necessities of life. We stay loyal to each other. We bring wealth and prosperity, and we take really good care of the children. We respect and express gratitude to one another, that we will be a well-wishing person to each other. It's a team effort at the end of the day, provide an overall protection. When two people in right now the World Cup is going on, right? Cricket. Some of our friends are, big cricket fans. In a cricket team, how many people are there? How many players?
11.
11 people come together to make a team win. Similarly, in our journey of Krishna consciousness, especially as Grihastha Ashram, two people come together to win as a team. Because, this is a quote from Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. The summary I put it, because it's a very lengthy one. Everyone is a servant of Krishna, and Grihasthas work together in serving Krishna. This is very, very important, right? So we come together as a team to serve Krishna, right? Man and woman, complementary to each other. It is a beautiful arrangement in one sense, to have the best friend in your, you have a shoulder that you can rely on, right, in the comforts of your home itself. So you can actually use that as an avenue to enrich your relationship with the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna. That is the reason. So this is the reason why we have been put into these situations here in this world, in this material world. We cannot run away from these things. Why am I a father? Why am I a husband? Why am I a son? Why am I an employee? Like that. So many, especially, forget about the corporate life, at least within the family setup. Why am I put into these situations? So that, and in fact, the acharyas explain Sambandha Jnana, Avidaya Jnana, and Prayojana Jnana. One of them is Sambandha Jnana. What is Sambandha Jnana? Can anybody help me understand what is Sambandha Jnana?
Establishing our lost relationship with Krishna.
Wow, beautifully said, Mataji. The key word that you use, Mataji, is amazing, which is our lost relationship with Krishna and establishing that. Beautiful, very amazingly said. So, in order to establish that relationship with Krishna, we need to have a taste of that relationships, because Krishna himself is a Rasaraj, right? He is the king of all mellows, king of all loving exchanges. Now, in order to experience that which we can experience from Krishna, a taste of that, a shadow of that, minute taste has to be given to us. And hence, we will be somebody's son, and we will be somebody's father or mother also. Or same, we will be somebody's son or daughter, and we will also be somebody's a father or mother. So that we taste that Vatsalya ras, so that we taste that Madhurya ras, so that we taste that servitude, Dasya ras. Everything, all the rasas can be experienced in Grihastha life, in our life. And this is the reason, if you want to perfect your lost relation, I really liked the way Mataji said, to establish lost relationship with Krishna. If you're not at all good at relationships, what kind of a relationship you'll establish with anybody? Right? So it is very, very important. However, there are pitfalls. Our greatest enemy, as Krishna says in chapter 3.37, Bhagavad Gita, Kama esha krodha esha rajo guna samudbhava mahashano mahapapma vidhi ena ihavairina. Lust is our greatest enemy. Lust is one of our deadliest enemies. So we are on the path of Krishna consciousness simply to transform this lust into love. Simply transforming. Our journey is from lust to love. Now, to be able to do that in Grihastha Ashram, we have this arrangement of getting married to each other and be able to execute that, right? So I have some real stories. Of course, I have hidden the characters here with obviously being, and again, when I put this, I have not been judgmental. Okay, I have prayed in my heart, and I still pray in my heart so that I never become judgmental. But these are the hard truths of life that we cannot avoid but discuss. There are no forums where nobody is discussing these things. And I'm sure many of you must have encountered these kind of, devotee friends in our own life too. I've seen a case one, spouse disrespects one another. Completely. I've talked and I've heard from many, for example, Prabhujis, especially, Prabhujis. I'll be very honest, being a man myself, but this is a unfortunate situation. They have no consideration for the opinion of wife. Absolutely no consideration for wife. Right? They have absolutely no disrespect, totally. If some program is happening at home, the other spouse does not even know. So Prabhuji goes and announces there is a big program, everybody come to my home, and Mataji has absolutely no clue. And when the other Matajis call, and suddenly they get surprised, really? There's a program in our home? And then they're rushing. So this is, and they say, these women, literally they say the woman has no brain. I don't want to consider, she has no experience, like that. Very, very wrong. Now I go into the temple, I will say, Radhe Vrindavaneshwari, Vrishabhanu Sute Devi. I'm saying Radhe Radhe, but at home, I'm not even respecting Srimati Radharani's daughter, who came in the form of my wife, or as my spouse. A little bit also. What is the use? For the whole world, I'll go say her Radhe, 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 but at home, I disrespect women. Very, very wrong. So this is case one. Case two, spouse ignores one another in the name of seva. Now, this is another thing. Either sometimes we see either husband or sometimes we see a wife being very, very advanced, obviously, because of their endeavors. But now what happens? Either of them starts taking bigger seva in the community. The husband goes for, let's say, Sankirtan, book distribution very nicely. And Mataji is left at home, or vice versa. Sometimes Matajis are going for some, deity worship, and Prabhuji is left at home, and no consideration and ignores, and says, you know what, my seva is my seva. I don't care what you do. Right? There is no team spirit. And what happens? Wife goes in one direction, Prabhuji goes in one other direction. Both of them don't have any clue about the needs of their children. Children have no clue about what's happening with the parents. And when they come, there is absolutely no exchange. Arey Baba, we're talking about loving exchanges. If these kids do not see a very good loving exchanges between wife and husband with their parents, when will they have trust in love? Where else they will see a true expression of love between the family members if they don't witness and see that at home itself? In the movies, somebody somewhere else by the outsiders, where will they get that taste? So it is very, very crucial as parents also to be able to have a very wonderful loving exchanges among ourselves so that we can actually help children, so that these children have faith in the institution of marriage. These children have faith in the institution of love. At the end of the day, if we want to love Krishna, we have to love. Everybody is a Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, like he said, everybody is a servant of Krishna. So spouse ignoring one another in the name of seva is also very, very dangerous trait, honestly. How much our great seva either of the spouse is doing. If you don't attend to each other, it is a big, big, problem. Now the third case, and these are all real examples. These are all real examples. These are all people that we are seeing in our devotee communities. Spouse extending their Krishna conscious muzzle on one another. I am advanced. You're not even chanting your 60 knots, or you're not chanting, you're not getting up early in the morning. You're not doing Mangalarti. See how I'm doing Mangalarti. All these things. Using Krishna consciousness as a way to put one another down and create more havoc and fight at home. Fighting at home on Krishna consciousness, on a spiritual life, is the worst application of Krishna consciousness. Worst. Somebody who takes up spiritual life should become more peaceful, more tolerant, more advanced. Not that you will create hell in the home, thinking that I am more advanced than other. That is another trait. Very, very, unfortunate applicability of Krishna consciousness at home. Fourth one is even worse, and this is also real, practical, real lives of people who are around us. I have seen this. Some of these have been escalated to. Spouses abusing, literally physical abuse. Absolutely no clue for the entire world. They are really great devotees outside, doing lots and lots of seva. As soon as the devotee satsang is done, the devotees go away, close the door, and literally physical abuse. This is the worst aspect. And some of the marriages, unfortunately, is also on the verge of divorce right now. So we're facing this in our own community. So it is very, very crucial, very, very, very crucial that we fix these things. How many of you, without having to mention anybody's names, how many of you seen any of these cases in and around your own life right now? Nobody has seen it? I'm surprised. I have seen all of them. So marriage is a sacred vehicle. Please consider this. If we want to serve Krishna, first fix relationships at home, Baba. Fix relationship at home before you go and stand in front of Shri Radha Kalachandji Bhagavan. Tomorrow we have Sunday feast program. When we go in front of Shri Radha Kalachandji, tell Krishna, tell Srimati Radharani, you have given me a great friend, my dear Krishna, in the form of my husband. Srimati Radharani, you have given your wonderful, beautiful daughter to me as my wife. Please help me serve her so that I can serve you. Fix your relationships at home. This is a must. We all can become, greatest preachers. So much of ample of opportunity to serve the extended communities. But if you are running away, I have seen Prabhuji's does not lift a spoon at home. Does not even lift a spoon also at home and put it in the dishwasher. And they are doing greatest service in the temples across. And the Mataji, the wife, is saying, he never does anything at home. Fix your relationship, Baba. Do your service at home too, before you consider great seva. I have seen in my previous, before I moved to Dallas, wife and husband coming together, just newly married. Wife works in East Coast, husband works in West Coast. Both of them travel. India on the weekend they come together. And when they come together, one of the times what happened was one of the temple leader who was arranging for a big program said, hey, what is there for you guys to come together like that? What is there? They said, like, I'm just traveling all through the week. I have to take care of the home. Prabhuji said, don't worry. Krishna will take care. You come and do the service. And they engaged like that slowly. Both wife and husband, newly married, in the name of Krishna, they have absolutely no avenue to even exchange communications with each other. Both went, and in the name of that, temple organizations have their agendas, no doubt. It is our responsibility to serve, no doubt. But if you do not fix your own central, the foundation of your own relationship in the Grihastha Ashram, guess what happened? Within 6 months, divorce. Within 6 months. As a community, tell me one thing, in ISKCON, do we like seeing this kind of disturbed family lives? Do we want to fail as a community? Anybody?
No, Prabhuji.
We don't want to fail. We want to be happy at home. We want to see very, very happy relationships among other Grihasthas too. We don't want to have this so-called, jealous and envious sense gratification by seeing others fail. That is the worst aspect, right? If we are trying to be devotees, we want to see the happiness all around. So we need to fix our relationships, especially among the Grihastha families, right? So we have to be very careful. So I think in the interest of time, I'll just, go through a few of the aspects of, some of the golden rules that we can follow. Okay. If there is one thing that I would suggest, please kindly consider every week. How many of you have been project managers? Anybody here project managers? Or led some kind of a project?
I did, Prabhuji.
Mataji is a project manager. Okay. So
Yeah, I did, Prabhuji.
yeah. See, yeah. So you've been leaders in your life, right? At least, in a small team or a big project, whatever. The reason I'm bringing that project management aspect is you have a plan how to run your project, and you will also have a contingency plan. Like if things go wrong, number one thing that a project manager does is always trying to see that you define a plan and then you execute the plan and make sure that you're always continuously, your entire team is adhering to that plan. Is it not? You're controlling the budget, you're controlling the time, you're trying to at least control, right? All those things, so that the project goes smoothly, whether it is a temple project, whether it's a project at your work or a home project, right? Anything. Let's say there is a celebration at your home. You execute the plan, you invite the guests, you plan everything. So you're trying to execute a plan. Similarly, running a Grihastha household is also a project. And we want to make sure it is executed nicely. Okay. So not like whimsically and reactingly. Somebody says, okay, there is this picnic, I'll go run there. Somebody says something is going on there, I'll go there. Not like, no plans, nothing like that. We need to have a plan, especially around the needs of the family members in the form of Grihasthas and also needs of the children. So if there is one thing that I strongly suggest everybody, and that really works really wonders, which is take a time off between wife and husband exclusively in a week. Go for a walk. Because only when both wife and husband are in sync, they can then run the family very nicely. There may be issues with the children. There may be issues with problems with one's own Krishna consciousness. I may be going through some turmoil. I may have spoiled some of my relationships. You need an avenue to exchange. And if you're continuously running without even thinking and pausing, how will you know that you both, wife and husband, are in sync with each other? right? So please, for a lack of a better term, the Western culture actually calls this as a dating, right? So go on a date. It's okay. It's perfectly fine. Go on a date, take an exclusive time, wife and husband, go out and ensure you have your own time. Vent each other, cry, smile, laugh, jump, do whatever you want to do. But take that exclusive time once in a week and exclusively go for a date and make sure that every discrepancies or misunderstandings or how you want to talk to your children, that how each one of you want to take help, not only take help but also take basically devotee care for each other. At the end of the day, we are all devotees of the Lord. We are all the sons and daughters of the Lord. So take care of each other. How do you want to be in the sync? That is one thing, in the interest of time, I'm telling that. If there is one thing that you want to do, please ensure that you do that as a parents. Because then you will have one voice, whether it is coming for the child from the dad or mom, it is one message. There is no more confusion. It is how does my week looks like? Do we want that to be a, sometimes, you will have situations where, you may have to go drop your son or daughter at a swimming class, but Mataji has an important seva at temple. That is fine. Those are okay. You can do that, but have that understanding. Papa, I'm taking care of the basketball thing. Why don't you go take care of that specific seva? So you have that understanding, not like communicating at all. You go in the direction, I don't know, and I'll go. You take care. Not that like that. Have a plan. Next week, how does my next week looks like? How does my 2 weeks looks like? How does my next 1 month looks like? Right? Please consider doing that. Right? So there are some rules, very nice ones, I'm going to say. Make sure that you express your gratitude and respect and love for each other. And I'll tell you this, it might sound a little weird. Make sure that you do this in front of the children too. I have seen fights among the parents and the children taking sides, and they become judgmental about parents too. Very, very wrong traits, very, very difficult, because sometimes I've seen a Mataji going through a reversal, almost close to unfortunately getting divorced. And guess what happens? Mataji is being faulted even by the children. See how devastating that can be? And I'm talking about not outsiders. I'm talking about within our devotee communities. So you have to be very, very careful. Express your love for each other as Grihasthas, as much as it is also set as an example for our children. If we don't have a trustful, loving relationships, trust me, our children are already going, Kali Yuga is advancing. So much of gender misidentity is going on. So much of confusion, so much of, unfortunate gay marriages, this marriages, that marriages, all those things are happening. So our kids are already getting confused. And on top of it, that if we add more conflicts at home, and if they don't see the trustful, relationships, it's going to be very tough for them. So express gratitude, help each other in your household duties. Why don't the father and mother together do seva, right? Loving each other means ready to accept your spouse as they are. Due to whatever karma, both, we come together in life. But so we should, whatever the decisions we have taken in the past, erase yesterday, erase what has happened. Don't dig into the past, especially around the fights that we have had, distasteful experiences we have had. Erase everything and set, we can fix this. We can fix it from today. We can fix this in the service of Krishna. Make sure that we are aligned with each other and serve, to enhance our Krishna consciousness, right? So there's so many of them. Have prasadam together. Have, if possible, whenever you can, at least once in a week, or if daily is great, if not, at least once in a week, or at least a couple of times a week, read scriptures together. Do not disagree immediately. Discuss both sides, right? Try to really help each other. To have a good marriage, you have to work as a team. You have to work as a team. Communication is the key. Communication is the key. We need to communicate very openly, and we need to communicate. So many times, many things have not been communicated among even wife and husband. I've seen wife and husband during COVID living in 2 rooms because they're all working and texting each other. They don't even want to face each other. Texting. And after the COVID is gone, again, this is a very, very close friend of mine. This happened about a month back. They are divorced. They were my college mates. Both of them were. They were in love with each other, and then they got married, and then this is what happened. So I was very devastated when I heard those things. It's happening outside. It's happening within our communities too. Take time for each other. Ask yourself what Krishna would have asked you to do. Communicate and pray to Krishna through problems. Do not hesitate to express to each other your feelings and your love. See this? Do not hesitate. Bring that flowers for the Mataji. Take Mataji on a date. Or Prabhuji, serve in any way that Mataji can serve the Prabhuji. Make sure that you're doing this. I'm telling you, as a team, if you bring that beautiful, happy relationships at home, and everything can be fixed. If you're thinking that this is not, it's already way too late, don't think like that. Anything, never it is late. We can fix today also. I'm sure that none of us have those kind of drastic, cases like I've mentioned here, case 1, 2, 3, 4. I hope it is not there in our lives. But even if it is there, we can fix it. Tomorrow when we go to Shri Radha Kalachandji Bhagavan, and when we stand in front of him, tell him how nicely you want to serve your family members. You serve family members lovingly, then you can do greater. That is real preaching, Baba. When you're happy at home, when you are nicely having those exchanges, that is a real preaching. Then your preaching activity will multiply. Many times, even parents come and tell me that, my kids used to chant 16 rounds. They are no more chanting anymore. And we're trying to force them. Right? So that's another topic for another day about children. But I'll not get into that. But what I'm trying to say is, set a great example. If we do our sadhana very nicely, why wouldn't they chant, right? And more than chanting, again, I don't want to slip into how to, grow children and all that. Let me not get into that. Again, if you're thinking that I have figured all these things out, no, I am also one among these. And I'm trying my best. It is not that I have figured it out. I'm just trying to share whatever that makes sense and how I can also strive hard myself, right? So, plan finances considering your spouse's view for the short term and long term. Plan finances together. You won't believe, this is all from the Grihastha manual. At the end of the day, a Mataji is all she is seeking is security. Okay? She left her parents. She left all her relatives and comes to our home. And I will mistreat her. So please, we are the true sons of Srimati Radharani, and vice versa. Whatever I'm saying to Prabhuji is equally applicable for Matajis also, right? If we are true sons of Srimati Radharani, our supremost mother, please consider the daughter of that Radharani, Srimati Radharani, at our home. Whether she is your daughter, whether she is your spouse, especially women needs to be protected, must be respected, and must be considered in every in every aspect. Please do not mistreat. I'm sure nobody is doing this on this line, but just as a gentle reminder. Then we can make our Grihastha life beautiful. There's so many other tips, so many. We cannot just do that in one. We cannot do justice like that for now. But I'll stop here. Any questions, any additions, any ideas that would have worked for you in your own spiritual life and Grihastha life, please feel free to share it. This is a good forum to share those. Any ideas, any inputs, Prabhujis and Matajis?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, as you said, right, like Matajis usually have that tendency of seeking emotions, right? Seeking that shelter. And it's right. I mean, they have given like so many things up for coming to the husband's place. But sometimes because of our own anarthas, we miss to understand that and don't value those emotions. And in that case, like sometimes we, because of our own anartha ridden heart, we take those emotions very lightly, or we don't even consider those emotions. So how to cope up with that kind of tendency?
So we don't even consider those emotions, right? Over
Correct.
a period of
Yeah.
time.
So sometimes we don't value those emotions
Yeah.
and just rub it off or put under the rug or don't even value it.
Yeah. So I think, thank you, Prabhuji. That's a very wonderful, beautiful question. I'll add mine, but we can also open the floor for others to add to. Rasraj Prabhuji is also here, and other wonderful Vaishnavas here. So we'll also seek their guidance. I'll tell mine first. So that is the reason why I'm requesting to pause the button, introspect together. So there is a self-introspection of how my actions, how am I doing? Really, I think I talked about this in our first session, maintaining a list of anarthas. One of the anarthas are not only these kama, krodha, lobha, mada, matsaryas, right? Those are there, but these are the extension of that anarthas it shows up in these actions, not being considerate to others, especially the better halves, the spouse. So that is the reason why I'm saying pause, introspect internally, and never it is late. Like I said, why forget about what has happened in our relationship? We can still fix it. We can still absolutely fix it from today. Is one thing I would definitely say. That is the reason why communication is very crucial. And if you have done that, this is especially, I don't think nobody is a brahmachari here who's trying to become. Anybody is a brahmachari here who's trying to become a grihastha? If not, for the posterity sake, I'll still say it out. Especially on the day one, this is what I have tried myself. Literally, around the same time when I got married is when I came into Krishna consciousness. And one thing that I have applied in my life with the little teachings that I had was considering my in-laws, my father-in-law and my mother-in-law, at the same level and same respect as my own parents. And I did that. And I really did that. I meant it and I did it and extended to whatever level I could serve them, I did it. And magic's worked. Same reciprocation came from my wife too. So when we do and act, because most of the times in the early days, I remember in my Grihastha life, the fights were always about one's own identity. And that identity is an extension of that identity. It comes in usually in the form of parents. And parents, my father, my dad, and my father, my dad, both the parties, and they start fighting about that. And then I realized this is not going to work. I'm telling you, if there is one thing that I was really benefited in my life is, and I'm probably I should not record this. If there is one thing that worked in my life is otherwise I would have probably been a divorcee long back. Because if two headstrong egos come together, it's very difficult, very, very difficult to live. And fortunately, if Krishna consciousness happened right then and there, fortunately, we were able to understand and try to serve each other parents very, very nicely. And that fixed so many things. So this is something I think I probably deviated a little bit, but this is something that to keep in mind, especially those who are get into Grihastha Ashram. But to answer your question, Prabhuji, my thing is introspect, pause, erase the past, have an open discussion with your better half, and still fix things, and then go forward from there.
Thank
But
you,
I'm
Prabhuji.
open for
Very
other
insightful.
ideas.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Very insightful.
Rasraj Prabhuji or Vihari Govinda Prabhuji or Mataji's, anybody would like to add?
Thank you, Srinivasacharya Prabhu. This is very nice. Are there any other questions? I just had a couple of points to mention. Not really adding, but maybe emphasizing certain things that were already mentioned. I mean, there are several things culturally we are brought up in a certain way, right? We have also seen our parents deal with each other in a certain way, and our grandparents and so on and so forth. And so those impressions are also there, and sometimes we carry those over. Generally, if it is a traditional family, the traditions carry over and so on and so forth. When you are in America, things become a little different and difficult. And one of the reasons I've kind of thought about was that the social structure in India is very powerful, which means that both the husband and the wife don't really lead a very private life as such, right? Your relatives, especially your mother staying at home or parents staying at home or someone like that, or they're pretty, it's changed now, but in a traditional family, that is the situation, in which case there are boundaries that are set for the Grihasthas and how they're interacting, and there's always that relationship. And then the wife gets a chance to talk to her mother or father or parents or someone like that, or sisters, and they have a little bit of a social structure, or even a family that lives close by, right? Coming to America, you're pretty isolated. And so the idea of a community as such is to actually develop a social structure that allows the family to grow. But that also requires that there is direct participation from the couple to embrace a community of devotees, right? In one sense, the whole idea of initiation is to actually embrace the community of devotees that have accepted, Radhanath Swami as their life and soul, right? In a lot of cases, it's both husband and wife. Sometimes it's not. And we'll address that in just one minute. But so you don't necessarily, you're no longer just an individual. Or people are not looking at our families as just as a husband and a wife. They're looking at us as disciples of Radhanath Swami. So in case that there are problems in the family, they say, look at the disciples of Radhanath Swami. They can't even get their act together, and they are. So it all of that, it's an additional burden, if I may. But at the same time, you are now in a community, and which is the beautiful part. And if you are able to, or we are able to come together as a community, then and have friendships within community, it's very, very critical to have that. It's not that we are associating with devotees. That's there for 90% of them, but there is a very small group of people, maybe 2 or 3 other families, that you have to have extremely close friendly relationship. It's like it's absolutely necessary for that to happen, because otherwise the stress on either the husband or the wife is just too much to be able to maintain a grihastha situation in the Western world, especially with the influences that we are seeing around. It's a stressful situation that we are living in, and for a lot of people, living here is becomes stressful. And we'll just go to India, and in a lot of cases, we do that because we have a social structure in it. But sometimes when that's not an option, and for some who are wanting to do something to help the mission of Srila Prabhupada in the West, then to have that social structure becomes very critical. So try to have friends, right? Try to, I mean, it's very, very difficult. We were just discussing yesterday. Try to have friendships as a family with other families. And that friendship should be such that we should be, and which is the second point, is that we can be vulnerable within that friendship, which means that we are able to open our hearts and be willing to say that we are wrong. We can't, as you know, as Prabhupada, I believe, was mentioning, we are not able to handle the emotional support that is required by either of the spouse, right? We're not. I mean, let's just accept it, right? Okay, I'm not able to handle this. What should I do? How can I do this? And sometimes what happens is when these families come together, that emotional requirement is sometimes taken care of. There is an outlet for either of the spouses to go and discuss it. Hey, this isn't happening, and so and then when that friendship is within, both the husband and the wife are open to that friendship, it allows the other families to come together and essentially, I wouldn't say resolve the situation, but at least accept that there is an issue, and then it's not an issue that is unique, believe it or not. Husbands and wives have been fighting since the time of, I don't know, Lord Shiva, right? Right. So it's there. It's just a question of how do you address it, and when usually it's the small things that cause the big cause problems, right? And so when you see that others are also in that same boat, then it relieves the stress within our heart, right? And then you know, spiritual. There is this whole idea of the negation of any pleasures within Grihastha life, which is an expression of your. It would become sometimes an expression of your spirituality. And we become very adamant in following the rituals of spiritual life. Okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and onions and garlic become, the catalysts for divorces. you know, and it's really strange. It's the smallest of things, which and all of us go through, right? I mean, me and Rasikali still fight about things which are just have absolutely no. Okay, you're supposed to wash the skin, and you're not supposed to do this, and why you're doing this, and why you're putting socks under the sofa, right? So and then it becomes, that thing just escalates into something else. But that doesn't mean that there is, or should we have chocolate or ice cream, or like these small things are not very important. What is important is to actually be honest with ourselves um, and understand that each one of us will have different physical needs. Sometimes we come to Krishna consciousness separately, and one of the spouses is not interested. Such a touch on that, but has nothing to do with Krishna. So what do we do? What is more important? Where is it more important? And I don't want to give, I don't want to kind of make it a blanket statement, but in principle, keeping together the rituals of spirituality can be sometimes compromised for keeping the family together. It's more important to do that, but keep the essence the same, right? I mean, we want to love and please Krishna in all situations. So it's okay to, and especially, if it's a physical relationship that either of the spouse desires within the marriage situation, then it's okay to continue with that relationship, to whatever extent both of you agree, or whether the spouse is essentially willing, either the husband or the wife, to continue with that physical relationship, as long as it's within the sacred, as Srinivasa Acharya Prabhu was saying, the sacred confines of the marriage. Yes, and if that is what keeps the spouse happy, that is what. Right, over a period of time, those things die down anyways. But where do you have those relationships? And where do you have those discussions and things? That's where you might want to have someone, some senior devotee, some really mature, more than senior, I want to use the word mature devotee, who you can trust, who you can essentially go and discuss these issues with, and say that, hey, what do you do about this? And it something as minor as eating chocolates, or going all the way to having sex, and this, that, and other. All of those issues, the entire spectrum falls within. Where do you draw the line between where my material life is and where my spiritual life is? And then to a large extent, at least my discussions with devotees, including Mother Manjuhali here, or if it's Krishna Chandra Prabhu in India, or whoever. Yes, it's been, or even when Dwarkadish Prabhu and Vishakha Mataji, right? I mean, they have always basically said, no, it's always good to keep the family yes, and happy, even if it means that, yeah, I mean, you're married, and sometimes the spouse does expect certain physical. You wouldn't be married otherwise if you are a brahmachari and you're so austere and this, that, and that. I mean, hell, Kashyapa and Diti, I mean, of course, I'm talking about it. There's all kinds of things. These are really, really advanced souls. Right? A desire, physical relationship, physical situations, but that shouldn't be a reason why one separates this, that, and that. I mean, keep it together, keep it together. That's the main. And I guess that's about all I had to say. I mean, just be happy, It's like, okay, don't necessarily make the family theoretical. Okay, I have to do this now. I have to do this, and I have to do this. Make it like fall in love a little bit. It's not, if you haven't, do it. Uh, just be very, very, this is family life. You all are, I mean, after everything is said and done, we just have each other. And sometimes what happens is that the physical, the health situation of either of the spouses prevents so many sacrifices and compromises that we have to go through. As we age in life, I've seen, either husbands or wife essentially have to stop everything because the other half is constrained due to health reasons. We have, either they have cancers they go through, or they have other physical issues which are lifelong issues, which basically means this is it, your life revolves. And so instead of, no, this is important that we continue to stay together, because that's the greatest thing we can do. We don't, for the society of devotees, and also for the preaching mission, Um, so one quick thing was the situation of parents, and don't break those relations. Don't also try to preach to them, but don't break those relationships. Those relationships are very critical. They have, for heaven's sake, Maharaj so many times mentions that we would be dead without them. So and irrespective of how inimical they might be with us, we have to just treat them with respect, for sure. And over a period of time, you will see that there is at least a level of acceptance, and once we reach around 45, 50, they're like, okay, all right, we're already old people. It's not that these guys don't know what's going on. In a lot of cases, it might be all right. Your parents might be, but um, if they're not favorable, you definitely need to um, maybe have a little bit of acceptance from their side. Can draw a line on certain things, saying that no, I won't have meat, or there are certain things you can draw a line out irrespective of how bad they feel about it. But for a lot of things, you can basically let go and take care of them. And sometimes it so happens that we have to be there to take care of them, or bring them over to take care of them. And it's a difficult situation. They have their lives also to live. But in whatever situation, accept and respect that, because as society, people will look at this and say, as a you people, that's what they're going to say. You people don't take care of your parents. They're not going to say that you didn't take care of your parents.
Yeah.
You people, which means that society as a group, we haven't done a good job of taking care of our elderly when they need us the most. And if you're not there, then that's a disservice to Srila Prabhupada's, especially from and I think a lot of things have been covered about children, so I think we should. But that's all I'm sorry. I'm sorry I took up 10 minutes after you spoke for so long.
No problem.
Hopefully,
Yeah.
good thoughts.
No. You have added a lot of, especially, Prabhuji, you have added so much of value for these conversations. Especially, I think you emphasized, this is the second time you emphasized so much on also on the parents aspect, which is very, very crucial for us. And as the disciples of Radhanath Swami Maharaj, we collectively also, we want to, conduct ourselves. That's an amazing point. And you also emphasized on the trust and having a mentor, a more matured devotees to guide us. That's a beautiful point. That's amazing. It's very, very crucial that we have, as Grihasthas, at least somebody who is not judgmental about our situation. Even if I tell my weaknesses to that person, he's not judgmental, and he's only still helping me to really progress. That mentor, we need to find one. We need to be able to, disclose our hearts, even like the weaknesses of the heart. If we can able to communicate and then seek that guidance, that mentor really is needed in our lives. And the other thing that, with your permission, Prabhuji, I'd like to one thing I want to quickly reflect before closing this call is, when it comes to husband or wife being extremely advanced, or somebody not at all being Krishna conscious, right? One principle that can really help in general, not only in Grihastha life, but in our extended communities too. The principle of, if you want, right, extremely, if in the principles of bhakti, if your heart is desiring, you can be as strict as possible as you want to be with yourself. Extremely being strict with one's own self, but more importantly, extremely lenient with others. Extremely lenient with others. Don't expect that my wife should chant, my children should chant, my so-called Bhakti Vriksha member should chant. It is, if you want to be exercise that strictness around executing. In fact, atyahara prayascha, one of the principle of nectar of instruction is that destroys is the quality of extreme fanaticism about one's own practices in devotional service too. That can be very dangerous too. So my request is, if you want to take it to that level, be on your own self. But more important thing is extremely lenient with everybody else in Krishna consciousness. And then it becomes a great journey. It becomes a great example, and your own practices will pervade. And then that is, if you really want to preach, do not preach. That's what my opinion is. Yeah. So with that, thank you so much, Prabhuji, Rasraj Prabhuji. You've been so kind and gave this opportunity for all of us to come together like this and also to serve. Thank you once again, Prabhuji, for adding this value.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Yeah, finally. So with this, I think I'll conclude all this series. I hope I could render some service. And we have a great, God family here. Rasraj Prabhuji is there, Sumi and wonderful, Vaishnavas are here. So we're all there for each other. And I would lean on each one of you also for my emotional, spiritual, and other, needs too. I need as much care as I think I could, do the same service to others, rest of the community too. So, including myself, I share these things just so that, it may help each one of us. But more than anything, I'm trying to help myself by re-emphasizing this in my own life. So that's the goal. But thank you so much for accepting, and thank you so much for coming onto these calls every week. I know it's so early in the morning, especially after having a Friday night Bhakti Vriksha program. It's really tough for each one of us to come make it, but still we made it. Thanks for everything. And if there were any gaps, or if I've caused anything, if I've said anything that immaturely I may have said, please kindly excuse with your wonderful hearts. So with that, I'll thank you all. Anything
very
else?
much.
Prabhuji? If not, we can close this call. Hare Krishna.
Hare-
Shri Shri
Hare
Radha
Krishna.
Kalachan Ji Bhagavan ki jai.
Jai.
Srila
Jai.
Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj ki jai.
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you so much for the
Krishna.
class.